Yes, you guys can sit anywhere except for the front 2 rows. But if you can see, yeah, the front 2 rows, I want you to really be able to see. Come on in, guys, have a seat. Not gonna bite over there except for the first 2 rows. Hurry up, chop, chop. We got a lot going on here. So, come on in. You guys have done this before. Don't be shy. Just don't run. Up the steps, guys. You can talk to people later. This is not a, let's go. We got a lot going on. Please have a seat. Talk to your friends later. Please have a seat.
So today we are at Cabrillo High School
Except for the first 2
for
rows.
a NASA and Prime
Guys, we've got a lot to cover
Motivation
here. It's gonna be a great
STEAM
day.
program. We'll be talking to
Starting off with
a
an awesome
few
video. Come on in, have a seat. Except for the first 2 rows.
astronauts. And they're going to be talking about STEM program and such. Tomorrow at Cabrillo High School there will be a car show that will also have a lot of STEM skills and education. So let's enjoy the show, and people are just starting to walk in.
All right. Today's Friday. And of course, this weekend, tomorrow, we got a great activity for you guys. A lot of special people, a lot of cool vehicles, and a lot of STEM focus. How do you guys know what STEM stands for? I do. It's science, technology, engineering, and math. How many guys are good math students? Raise your hand for good math students. There's more than that. Everything you do involves math. And you're walking. You got to know where you're going, right? You got to count the distance. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to show you a video that's going to kind of get you thinking a little bit, and then we're going to go into bringing some special guests from NASA to talk to you guys. So we're very excited about this presentation. And where's my sidekick, Ken? I think he's still bringing other students in. But again, once this video starts, I really need you guys to be very respectful. We won't keep you long, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I know NASA's sending me some stuff, FedEx, so it'll probably get here after. So we'll have to make sure you guys get stuff, especially if you're respectful. So it looks like we got a bye this weekend, right? No football?
Yes, sir.
All right. So no football. How about soccer? Soccer going on? Looks like just our event. Come on, guys, have a seat, except for the first 2 rows. Have a seat. What time you guys have? I need Ken, Mr. Fisher, my right-hand guy. Where's he at? Mr. Fisher, are you here? Mr. Fisher. I just can't get it right now. But if you have some room. Okay.
I'd be welcome.
Here you go. Mr. Fisher. Is Mr. Fisher out there?
Yeah, he's on his way.
I need you to scoot 1 row back, sir. Just 1 more row back. Can you guys see up there? As soon as Mr. Fisher gets here, we'll get started. Edwin, what time do you have?
11 11:45.
Mr. Fisher. There's Mr. Jacob, man of the hour. Thank you, sir. So the transportation matters. Where's my other Stephanie?
Hello, Mr. Montgomery.
Okay, we are at Cabrillo High,
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
and we will be having a live feed and discussion with NASA astronauts and the students of Cabrillo High.
Okay. We will stand by.
So NASA is standing by.
They can't see you right now, but I have a lot of my students here right now. So as soon as Mr. Fisher gets here, we're going to do a video, but I think we'll wait so that we can see you. So just give us a few minutes.
Again, we are at Cabrillo High with a presentation with NASA astronauts
Is that a thing on your end?
interfacing with Cabrillo High School students.
You guys are control.
We'll be talking about STEM
Okay, awesome.
and STEAM.
All right, we'll stand by.
So please invite your friends to watch. Here we have Bill Montgomery, Prime Motivation. It's a nonprofit based in California.
Mr. Fisher.
Okay, and we are waiting for one more class to
Okay,
come.
here it is, Mr. Fisher. We're still waiting for students.
Okay, here comes another class.
Okay, hurry up in, fellas, everywhere except for the first two rows. Everywhere except for the first two rows, have a seat, please.
So if you're just
You're in the right
watching,
place.
please share this video with
Everywhere except for,
I have a question.
excuse me, not the first two. Anywhere else besides that? Okay, let's everybody have a seat. It's always good to get a lot of students. I have my NASA representatives waiting
We'll
patiently there.
anticipating to have over 250 students
We're a little bit late, but
in the inner city of Long Beach.
bear with me, we got some more kids.
And we're at Cabrillo High School in Long Beach. Or in Carson, actually. I think we're in Carson. I think we're in Carson.
Thank you so much for your patience. Mr. Fisher. Okay. All right, let's hurry it up because we're running out of time. These guys are very, very, very busy, and I want to time it.
Okay, for those of you who are joining, we are at Cabrillo High School. And we're going to have a short presentation by NASA with NASA astronauts and Cabrillo High School students.
All right, let's everywhere except for the first two rows. Let's hurry it up. Don't look at your friends because we're going to get started here. Talk later. Listen up, listen up, listen up.
Please tell your friends and share
All right,
this
we're going to
video.
go ahead and start, and I'm going to hand this over to my counterpart, Mr. Fisher, and tell you what's going on real quick.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome. Behind me is a little video, Prime Motivation, some of the things in which they do, and how we connected with them here at Cabrillo to bring you experiences that you can't get anywhere else. Today, we're going to be talking with a couple personnel from NASA. You will have the opportunity to ask questions if you are so inclined. I'm praying that many of you do. Please make sure that you write those questions effectively, and you're going to step down here and we're going to ask them down here, and they will be able to answer them. It should take approximately the entire period, and we are looking, as always, to give you guys an experience like no other in engineering. Not the first two rows, no, we're going to be back. We're going to be back. We're going to go back to the next rows. Thank you. Go that way. First two rows will be blocked out, guys. Awesome turnout. Awesome turnout. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And we are at Cabrillo High School, and we're at a presentation by NASA, the NASA astronauts, and students from Cabrillo High School. And we really want to have our youth involved in STEM, because as they get skills, and they'll have better lives.
Early pioneers.
And this is in conjunction with Prime Motivation and NASA.
All the way through to those seats. All the way through to those seats. Go. Come on. Come on. Come on. All the way down and up. All the way through and up. Speed up. Come on. Come on. All the way through and up.
Again, welcome everybody. This is Edwin Duterte. I'm here with Prime Motivation and Cabrillo High School. We're going to be doing a presentation with NASA astronauts and the importance of STEM education as it leads to higher STEM jobs. Hello everybody, this is Edwin Duterte and we are with Prime Motivation. We'll be talking with NASA astronauts, so stay tuned. Tell your friends and please share this link. This is Edwin and we will be having a presentation with NASA. So as we get the room fills, please tell your friends.
We don't want anyone in the first 2 rows.
This is going to be an awesome event. We have the Rotary International here. We have Mark Carta.
All right, there's still room. Let him in, let him in, let him in, let him in. All right, we have another couple minutes on this little video. There's going to be some pretty cool music coming.
Alright, welcome everybody. Please tell all your friends. We are at Cabrillo High. We're going to be talking to NASA astronauts. So please tell your friends. We're going to have a big audience, a full room here. And so stand by. Stand by and please tell your friends. Hey everybody, here we go. We are with Prime Motivation, Cabrillo High School, and NASA. We have Mr. Bill Montgomery in the BF Goodrich shirt. Jeff Fisher, Mr. Jeff Fisher. He is the tech coach and teacher, math teacher at Cabrillo High School. We got Nathan right there. Nathan. You got his Uncle Mark there. some exciting times here.
Where's Stephanie? Stephanie, I need you. Come on, Stephanie. Who else is presenting from the transportation patch? Need you. Come on down. All right.
Dr. Bostic, are you there?
Yes, we are here.
How do you hear us?
Good afternoon. Hello. Hey, you guys see us?
Yes, now we can see you.
It's not quiet. Be respectful.
I'm sorry?
There we go. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great. And I'm sitting here with my friend and colleague, Valerie Ellis, and we are ready to talk to you guys whenever you're ready.
Sounds good. I think we're ready to go, so feel free to start us off.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me back, ladies and gentlemen. As some of you may recall, I had an opportunity to speak to you all months ago. I don't know if you were able to participate in that. If you were in that opportunity, if you'll raise your hand so I can kind of get a sense of who was here, or am I presenting all new stuff? All right, great, hands down. Awesome. Well, again, my name is Clarence Musted. I am actually contacting you all today from NASA Langley Research Center. NASA Langley Research Center is the oldest of the NASA research centers. There are 10 NASA research centers across the nation. And we are here in Hampton, Virginia. I want to thank Mr. Montgomery for having us. I am joined by my colleague and friend, Ms. Valerie Ellis. And we are going to have a presentation with you all today about a couple of different things. We sent some earlier information on to kind of talk a little bit about myself and kind of my background. And there are some general questions that they provided us and going to present based on those questions. And then we have Ms. Valerie Ellis, who's going to present on opportunities for paid internships for any of you that are age 16 and above with visa. And so that's pretty much what we're going to talk about today. Is that okay? All right. I hear no one saying no, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So, we are going to talk a little bit about comparisons of microgravity. As some of you may recall, I spent some time, while right now I work as a program manager here at Langley Research Center, I've spent some time as a safety engineer working for the International Space Station. There I worked as a payload safety engineer where we looked at various payloads in the system and also the effects of microgravity on those payloads. And so we're going to go ahead and start looking at some of the comparisons of microgravity with some of the way that some things could be different on Earth versus microgravity. So one of the things when we're in space is the idea of flames. If you're actually looking at flames, or actually, let's step back one huge step. International Space Station, are any of you familiar with the International Space Station? Hands up, please. If you're familiar with the International Space Station? Great, awesome. So, hands down. If you're unfamiliar with the International Space Station, it is an international laboratory that is led by, in part by NASA, and also the space agencies of Russia, as well as several other partners. Then we actually are doing lots of different types of research to include research on planes, research for drug development. As a national research laboratory, we do a lot of different science experiments and things that are actually happening on the ISS. But what I was asked to speak about were some of the differences on Earth versus things in microgravity. And so one of the things, of course, we're studying on the space station are how flames work, how they look, how they interact. You can see here on this image, we're all used to the kind of the birthday candle, and you can see that there. That's what a flame looks like on Earth. What burns, the color, its dimension, and then here's a flame microgravity. Of course, what you're going to have to recall is that on Earth, you're going to have a certain amount of gravity that's going to interact, and the way that flame is going to interact with quick is going to be different than it would be in a microgravity situation. As far as water droplets are another phenomenon that are going to have some differences on Earth and in microgravity. On Earth, of course, the water drop can take any shape. Take the shape of a container. So they could be any of the shapes that you see here, or even other shapes, depending upon how they interact with our environment. But in microgravity, or in space, this is typically what will happen to any water droplet. Not the fact that it's going to get so large as to cover the astronaut's face, but this one actually happens to be a very large amount of liquid here that was able to make kind of a large sphere as it floated through the ISS. These phenomena are, but again, thinking about just the way that there's going to be a difference in gravity. We say microgravity, and you'll hear microgravity because you're still going to have gravity having some interaction even in space. Remember, for everyone who's taking science courses, you still have gravity that is acting on planets that are away, and that's what keeps them in our solar system. So the idea of zero G is actually a misnomer, because those really, as far as what we investigated, we're not working in a zero gravity environment. There's always something interacting on the amount of gravity. And so you're going to have a microgravity environment, and in a microgravity environment or less gravity, this will be the outcome when you're looking at a water droplet. Another interesting phenomenon that is different, of course, when we're in space, are looking at growth. If you all are familiar from your biology classes, you may recall the topic of root growth, and actually where you're doing comparison studies with how roots grow as far as plant growth, and actually looking at plant farming going into Mars. Well, one of the things that we have to study to understand that is what are the effects of gravitropism? And gravitropism, of course, is the ability of gravity to interact and almost to direct the roots to grow downward into the soil. You see here in subsection B, those ground samples, and you kind of see what they're doing, all going relatively straight down, and the leaves up in the air. But then if you look at the flight samples that are going to be grown in microgravity, you'll see them all swirled about. Because in absence of strong gravity that's actually going to direct those roots where to grow, those roots actually will grow in kind of a snarled way, where the roots actually they respond to different in response to a lack of gravity or minimal gravity. For human physiology is essentially how the body works. So human anatomy is how it looks. Human physiology is how it works. So whenever you're thinking about human physiology, actually microgravity impacts us all differently. One thing that is similar whenever we're looking at our astronauts, whenever the astronauts go into space, they all will have the likelihood of the fluid that is in their bodies are actually going to kind of rise up into their chest and their upper bodies into their faces. And so whatever your face looks like now, if you were in space, your face would look a lot more full. Until your body can adjust and your body is able to pass out the extra liquid around your upper torso and head to kind of drain that out of your body through waste, sweat, and other things. Here, though, see there are some differences as far as the way the female astronauts are impacted by space, and the way that the male astronauts are impacted by space. And so the impact to their skeletal systems, the increased amount of likelihood of osteoporosis in women. But there's also great amount of significant visual impairment for men. This is going to have an impact on men in that way. The way that they impact their immune responses. Women will have a very strong immune response to space, while men will have a very weak immune response. This is all important as we're looking at keeping astronauts in space, and those folks that are going to go into space to represent us whenever you're doing long-term missions away from Earth's gravity. What are some of the impacts that we're going to see? And so this will give you some of those ideas here. As far as suits, muscle mass, muscles are lost, the muscle mass is lost. Also information in terms of their variability of muscle degeneration and muscle growth. So all of those are perceived changes, or all of those are changes that we've studied so far. Here's something else that we have whenever we're looking when we're comparing the Earth to microgravity. One of the things that we do, again, it's a laboratory. So as a laboratory, we actually study a lot of things. Yes, we want to see cool phenomena, so we're going to take things like liquid, and we're going to see that, oh yes, the flame is going to change shape. The liquid is going to actually retain a spherical shape in microgravity. But we've actually taken that information and extended it to growing high-quality protein crystals. When we're going to need protein crystals, of course, those are the basis for many medicines and also the way that those medicines will work on us in space. As you see here, that whenever you're looking at the way that certain protein crystals can grow on Earth, they may not grow as effectively or in as delicate or as many layered of ways. And the yellow will show you all of the ways where those additional subparticles are interacting with the protein crystals. However, as you see in a bio, they actually are able to attach themselves in the delicate patterns that are necessary to develop in some very complex proteins, sizes, shapes, and complexities. On to E. coli and other microbial growth. Here on the gravity of Earth, there's a misnomer here, and it says zero gravity, but zero gravity is E. coli growing is very small, but in microgravity scenario, see the E. coli actually growing in a rampant way, where it's these are larger colonies. Those colonies are not only going to have a greater diameter, but if you were to take off the petri dish, they actually be taller because they've been growing in absence of gravity kind of directing the way that they have to grow. It's less resistance, and so it allows their growth to be in many directions. So these are some of the ways that we are looking at science phenomena when we are in space. And we have to take into account these phenomena as we're putting together our lab experiences and looking and as partners are actually looking at solving problems of their own. So you'll see in the International Space Station where you'll have pharmaceutical companies that are going to send up different experiments, as well as other research scientists and even students are sending out samples that are taking advantage of this phenomenon. So, are there any questions based on this information that we've presented so far?
Right here.
Bring it over. Yeah, give us 1 second.
You okay?
My name is Edwin Martinez from Cooper High School, and I was wondering why is the water turned back into a perfect sphere in space?
Did you hear that question, Dr. Wilson?
Could you come closer to the computer line, please? Is that possible at all? Or have someone repeat it. That would be awesome too. That'd be great. Either one.
Yeah, Devin Martinez asked, why is it that when a water bubble gets up into space, it goes back to the spherical piece, back to spherical shape?
Well, it goes to the spherical shape. Remember, there's a couple of things at play here, and you guys will remember this when you study this in biology. Do you remember the water strider, that insect? How it uses surface tension to allow it to stay on top of the water? Well, as you recall that, there are going to be some characteristics of water that are going to change with the reduction in gravity, such as its ability to retain the shape of the container and to kind of make itself into a certain shape. But there are other characteristics, such as its surface tension of the water molecules itself. It will retain those characteristics. And so it will kind of adhere to itself, making that sphere, making it retain that spherical shape. We've noticed that still does the same thing, even if you add things to the water droplet like color, or even the ability to have like fizzy stuff, adding it to the water, the bubbles will stay within the sphere of the liquid. They actually will occasionally burst outside of the liquid, but they will not destroy the sphere of liquid anyway. It's because of the surface tension. Thank you so much for your question. Are there any questions?
Right here. Your question? Speak loud. Introduce yourself first.
My name is Alfredo Paston, and I have a question about additive manufacturing in space, because right now on Earth, because of gravity, additive manufacturing, such as 3D printing, goes from the ground up. But what about, have you guys conducted experiments in space regarding 3D printers that could print like in a spherical shape like the water, because there's no constraints such as gravity because of microgravity?
Thank you so much for your question. Actually, yes, there have been 3D printers on station actually performing prints using various filaments, various materials, and they've had great success. Those prints, if you're interested in reading more about the 3D printing, of course, I should have said this earlier on, you can go to the nasa.gov website and look up ISS experiments and type in print and there'll be information in it. But yes, we've actually had some experience there. As far as whether or not the printed material is as strong or stronger, or what characteristics are similar or different, I don't remember that now. I don't remember that information, but I do know that the printed items were able to retain shape, and they had a similar look and a similar function. But that's what I know. As far as any chemical analysis or analysis by mechanical analysis, that I'm unsure of. Thank you for your question. Oh, I could have asked this too, as I got so excited. Hey, how much time do we have, Mr. Montgomery, before I look at it?
We have probably about another, this is Ken Fisher. We have about until 1:07 our time, so about 4:07 your time. So probably about another 40 minutes. And we don't have to go that long though. We don't have to go that long, whatever is most comfortable for you guys.
I can speak for myself. My friend Valerie will have to. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't take up all of the time. So Valerie present some great opportunities for the students.
Perfect, sounds good. Well, let's go ahead and go on to that part, and then we can come back with any other further questions afterwards.
You want to come back?
Perfect.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. So then what I will do, I'll let you guys kind of think about more questions whenever you're thinking about the ISS. When you're thinking about the science that takes place there. Thank you for the questions about the science and about the technology. Think about some more questions, and as you're thinking about those questions, I'd like to introduce Ms. Valerie Ellis, who is one of the coordinators for the NASA Internship and Fellowship Program, and allow her to present some opportunities to you all.
Good afternoon. Clarence said, I'm Valerie Ellis, NASA program coordinator with the NASA Internships Program. So let's start with the program overview of internships. Let's explain what internships are at NASA. NASA internships are competitive awards to support educational opportunities that provide unique NASA-related research and operational experiences for high schoolers like you guys, undergraduates, and graduate students, as well as educators. Next, let's talk about why NASA offers internships. The objective is to engage and inspire. The objective is to engage, thank you, and inspire students to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and math at NASA or their contractors. You may have heard careers in this field mentioned as STEM careers. These internships match interns with NASA professionals to do mentor-directed tasks. These projects and tasks contribute to the operation of a NASA facility or the advancement of NASA missions. Isn't it exciting that interns get to be a part of a NASA mission? NASA has 10 centers across the U.S. with 3 centers in California, which you all I'm sure would be really interested in. The California centers are Ames Research Center in Moffett Field, Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena, and Armstrong Research Center at Edwards Air Force. Each of the 11 centers offer different projects based upon the specific missions of those centers. A few examples of projects that high school students at NASA Langley worked on this summer are, I'll give you those titles, are solar cell membrane folding and packaging. Another one was developing methods to assure safe operations of unmanned aerial systems. And the last one that I have an example of is 3D printing and additive manufacturing and communications. As you can see from the project titles, NASA interns do real work to solve real problems. Also, NASA internships are not just for students who want to be an astronaut. NASA has an internship for students interested in, NASA has internships or projects for students interested in graphic design, communications, 3D printing, medicine, robotics, and business. We've had internships this summer that for students interested in all of those areas. So just don't think you have to be an astronaut engineer to be at NASA. Also, specialized technicians needed in various careers across NASA, for example, to assist in operations that our interns took. One of those pictures is in a wind tunnel, another is at the gantry, and what takes place at our gantry at NASA Langley is crash tests, which is really exciting, and the students get to, what you see them wearing hats, they're on the gantry. And the other picture is in the model shop, which is very cool. So we get to do a lot of cool enrichment activities here at NASA Langley. There are a lot of exciting things to see and do here. Now let's talk about the most important part of an internship at NASA, and it is completing an application. And the application can be completed at NASA.force, NASA.force.com. Currently, applications are being accepted for the spring and summer sessions. However, I must mention to you all that most of our high school opportunities are offered in the summer. You may apply for up to a max of 15 opportunities through the March 31st deadline, that is the summer, to complete the applications, upload your current transcript, have at least one person who is willing to write a letter of recommendation for you. The letter of recommendation can come from your school counselor, employer, or teacher. Last, be sure to include or complete all of the required spaces. It is important that you do not leave any required spaces, as you will not be able to submit the application. And also, something I'd like to mention, here's a space to write why you would like to be a safe term. This is really important because you can write something to the effect of that a NASA internship can help you to achieve future goals. And now we have the program eligibility and requirements. Although 3.0 is listed as a standard GPA requirement, students with a 2.9 are also encouraged to apply, because in some cases waivers can be offered to students with a 2.9. However, the GPA cannot be lower than 2.9. Listed are some tips to have a complete application and how to make your application stand out. The main tip is to include all your hobbies or special skills you taught yourself in. And please remember, it does not have to be something that you actually took in school, which is really good. And we encourage you to take different software packages and learn as much as you can of the current technologies. List all of that on your applications. Good examples of hobbies that you could list are photography, building websites, or maybe you started a blog. Regarding the session information, we're going to just talk about summer because, as I mentioned earlier, most of the high school opportunities are within the summer. The summer session is typically 10 weeks long, but they vary across the center, so you will have to actually contact the particular center that you apply to for the session dates. NASA's interns are paid. There is a stipend, and again, unfortunately, I can't give you a standard pay amount because that also, for high school students, vary across the different centers. And that completes my part of the internship presentation. Are there any questions?
What's your question?
How do people usually sign up to be
Perfect. The question is how many applicants do you guys typically get for the internship program?
Oh, wow. Let's just say for last summer alone, it was over 2,000, but 2,000 for the summer session alone. But I do not want that to discourage you because each of you all have unique abilities and skills that can perfectly fit a project at a particular center. So do not allow that to discourage you in any way.
And I would like to say that in the past, we have actually had a Cabrillo student get a NASA internship. And not only did he get it his senior year of high school, he continued to work for NASA through the 4 years he was at college at Cal State Long Beach. And now he is actually working for the United States Air Force up at Edwards Air Force Base as part Air Force, part NASA engineer. So it is very possible for a Cabrillo High School kid to be able to get something like this. It all is about the effort and the foot you guys put forward. Okay, Mr. Montgomery?
Thank you, Ken. I want to call it Stephanie. Stephanie is a student. Stephanie, want to come on up? Stephanie is a student. Stephanie is a wonderful lady in the transportation technology class of mine, and I'm going to be taking her under my wing, and I asked her to ask a question over here on the podium. Think about something about females. Don't be shy. Question is, how do women advance in transportation technology?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat, please?
Yes.
Speak up a little bit louder. You got it.
How do women advance in transportation and technology?
Is the question how do women advance
Yes.
in transportation and technology at NASA?
Yes.
Well, the beauty of working at NASA is, you know what? I actually I'm going to let Valerie weigh in first, and then I'll come in with my loud voice.
Well, I have to say that I would reference our summer internship section. And roughly out of, we had 267 students. Of those 267 students, it was over 100 women. So that gives you a good idea of the percentage of projects that we have that women or females are supplying skills and things of that nature. So at NASA Langley, and not just at NASA Langley, across all of the NASA centers, females are participating in internships in all levels, whether that be engineering, communications, business. So there are quite a few, there are a lot of opportunities for females at NASA Langley.
Just to add on to what Valerie was saying, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And many of those women that would start out as an intern can then take that experience and turn it into a pathways opportunity and on it to higher jobs on the chain. And so we've had folks that go very high up to the second in command. Most recently was the associate director of NASA, Lisa Rowe. She was the center director and then became the associate director after some time. So NASA is a place very supportive of women and advancing them, not based on their gender or because of their gender, but because of their skill. And so really it's looking, what are you bringing to the table to accomplish the mission? You don't have to be an astronaut, as Valerie indicated. You don't have to be an engineer. You just have to be someone who knows the craft and can apply their craft to help us to answer questions of the mission for NASA. Thank you for your question. Is there another question?
Yep, just coming up around. Get in front of the camera so he can see it. Can you get right here. I don't know if that camera's going to pick you up or not. There you go. There we go.
I can see you.
Hi, my name is Jenna Lopez, and I'm from CED, and I was wondering how NASA improves their solar panels.
How does NASA fix solar panels? Was that your question?
Improve them.
Oh.
Like efficiency higher.
Yeah.
Are you saying how to improve solar panels or how to repair it?
Like, how do you guys repair them? Not like repair them, but improve them.
Okay,
Make the
awesome.
efficiency higher.
The question, as far as I understand it, and if I don't answer your question, thank you for your question first, but if I don't answer your question, please don't hesitate to come back and just ask me. Sometimes the technology is a little bit difficult to exactly pick up the details of the question, so I apologize. But whenever you think about a solar panels are not typically like a single sheet. Instead, they're going to be a bunch of small cells. So if you can think about, okay, here's an example. If you ever made a boat and made a paper sail, how everything is like one piece of paper and you pass a sharpened pencil or sharpened stick through it, and how it's all one piece? And if you rip that thing, then the sail is no longer effective. With the solar panels, these things they tend to be placed, and in the spaces are going to be each one of the little panels. And so engineers have designed those panels to actually be able to receive risks, and still the electricity that could be generated or captured could be generated or captured by the other portions of the panel that have not been ripped. So say for example you have a craft that's out in space and there is a micrometeorite shower. What we're going to try to do in a micrometeorite shower, we can actually anticipate the micrometeorite shower coming, and you will try to adjust how high or how low that craft is flying to kind of miss the micrometeorite shower, and then you actually try to limit the amount of hits that you're going to take. But then you're able to kind of determine, okay, well, if we do pick hits, it's not going to be a single rock that's going to destroy all of the solar panel. In fact, it's just going to be small damage, and then you're going to be able to determine how to reroute the electric collection and then the distribution of electricity from there. So in short, they don't really repair them once they're in space unless it's just really necessary. That's happened with the Space Telescope, where we actually bring out a new solar panel, and we actually just replace all of the solar panels. But that was during the shuttle days, probably many years ago. So now they're just kind of designed to be able to withstand a tear. Did that answer your question?
Did he answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
Okay, awesome.
Any
Any
other
other
questions?
questions?
If you want to come down or you want to just tell me and I can ask it, it's up to you. So she said that earlier you mentioned when you talked about the astronauts in space, how the fluids rise to the chest and the head, and are there any negative effects to that when the people come back down to Earth? That you guys have
Excellent
seen?
question. Thank you for that question. Yes, there are some negative effects. One thing, of course, some of the astronauts would say their first defect would be the fact that they don't like puppy face and chicken legs. So if you can well imagine, most of the liquid air is equally distributed to accommodate the amount of gravitational forces acting upon your person while you're here on Earth. But when you go in a microgravity environment, you get chicken legs because all the liquid that's in your legs and your lower torso are going to go to your upper body. Well, that's going to be extra amount of drag on your kidneys, and so it's going to require that your kidneys are kind of going to get rid of all of that liquid. So it's going to be liquid around your heart, liquid around your kidneys, liquid in your face, and so your body's got to kind of reach homeostasis while you're in a microgravity environment. When you return to Earth, because you got rid of all of that liquid that you needed to be able to kind of retain your normalcy or homeostasis on Earth, you tend to have people that have been in space a long time, and they sometimes are very weak and they can't stick it. It's not because of the muscles degrading as much as they just have to kind of try to get used to having that liquid to kind of reattach itself in their bodies. So it's not necessarily long-term impacts that we've been able to determine. Yes, there's going to be some increased amount of work in the kidneys, and there will be some muscle degradation, also some degradation of the bone, where you see some osteoporosis, osteo problems, where you see the bones break down and get more brittle after a time. Largely, what we've learned is whenever we have folks returning from space, you're actually able to increase the amount of fluids, increase the electrolytes in those fluids, and then after a time, adding sugar, adding other things, we usually will keep them under watch. We watch them for a while, and then we usually release them to their families, or release them back to the, after they're old, they can kind of stand up and kind of go back to being home. But it's not a scenario where, hey, I'm in space and now I have some deleterious effects. It largely, I think it hasn't happened so far in that way. Again, think about the fact that these folks that are going into space largely going to be in very top health. If there's any kind of challenges they had with their kidneys, with their muscles, with their arteries and bones, we would have been able to find those things first. Kind of a long answer. Please, did it answer the question?
Yes, you did. Thank you. Dr. Boss, I have a question. I know in the early years, when they came back from space, how long do you have to stay in the capsule for detox and things like that? Is it a day now? Is it 3 days?
It varies. It varies from based on their mission, how long they were in space, and you also have a couple of different things. So when you're thinking about the Apollo days, the Mercury days, Apollo days, shuttle days, and then if you're going to fly and return to the U.S. or return to Russia, because they have a lot of different protocols that are going to be there. Okay. So the way that we select our astronauts, train our astronauts, and fly our astronauts is going to be different than Russia. And so they may stay under surveillance with the missions longer, depending upon the length of time they were in space, or may actually just they kind of pick up on what they've flown before. In fact, so they're going to keep them. They're not going to return right back into the public, they're still going to watch them. Usually they're going to keep them overnight. They won't keep them like in a little room with a mouse or some kind of something they're going to watch under a microscope. Instead, they'll kind of say, okay, this person seems like they are kind of, returning to themselves, they're able to walk, they're able to stand, and there are a series of protocols that they go through to determine releasing them to the next phase of acclimating back into society. So it goes through a process. Other questions? Or rather, did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Thank you. Right here. Right here. Okay, there you go.
Hi, there you go. Hello.
Hello. My name is Mikai, and I'm a student of the LCC of Career Engineering Design. And it's just a general question from the internship.
What's the question?
So my question is, what skills or experiences do you expect from the high school students that you generally accept in your internship?
What skills are, I'm sorry, I need you to repeat the last part of that.
So do you just want me to repeat the question?
Please.
Alright. So my question was, what skills or experiences do you expect from the high school students, such as me, that you generally accept in your internship?
You guys get that? What skills or experiences do you want the high school kids to have that you generally accept into your internship?
Okay, that's a very good question. Actually, all of your experiences, like I mentioned before, if you have personal experience with say, building a website or any types of skills that you've taught yourself, also, I would encourage you to take programs that advanced math classes, know different programming languages. If you have an opportunity to do that, go ahead and learn those. Linux, it's something that's very popular here, and Math Lab. If you have an opportunity to familiarize yourself with that now, go ahead and do that. That's very important here at NASA, especially in the area of engineering and different projects like that.
Perfect, thank you. We have another question, please come on down. We have a line, and we're going to take 3 more questions, okay? 3 more questions are what we're going to take.
So you've explained what you guys do after an astronaut comes back from space, but what is like the preparation before they go to space?
So I want to make sure you have the question right. After an astronaut comes back from space, what is their preparation to go into space again?
Yes, and like in the first round, like before they go into space, what's the way that you guys prepare?
Okay. So before they go to space, thank you so much for your question. So how to prepare astronauts before they go into space? It's a very long process. So from the moment that someone is selected as an astronaut, they actually are going to just train. They're paid just to kind of train and kind of learn some general skills as far as working in space, working with teams, and just kind of very general stuff until they're selected for a mission. Then after you're selected for a mission, so you kind of learn the general things, such as how do you go to the restroom in space. You learn how to use certain tools. You learn how to get in and out of the suits. You learn how to work with various tools and various people. But then after that astronaut is selected for a mission, that will set who the team they're going to work with. And so that team will be around to very specific people to specific jobs. And so we really aren't looking at necessarily anything in terms of age or gender, but they're really looking more of a skill set. And so you'll see women that are commanders, you'll see men that are specialists, you'll see them varying ages, varying races, things of that nature, because what they're looking for is, depending upon what that mission's goal is, who can help them to accomplish that mission. And so then after that group is selected for the mission, then the training gets very specific. And they're going to say, okay, well, these are the payloads that you're going to work on, and so they introduce you to each one of the payloads. Now, a payload is going to be things that are kept on a practice, so the stuff inside of the rocket, not the rocket itself. So inside that payload, maybe they're going to do 15 experiments. And so they're going to introduce them to each one of these experiments, and they're going to have different people that have been identified as the primary or the lead on the experiment, and then someone as a backup. And so NASA believes in redundancy, and so they're going to have identify a primary and a backup on every single function of that mission. So there'll be a primary leader, a backup leader. There's going to be someone who's primary on each one of the experiences that's on the station. That sometimes includes spacewalk. So you're going to have someone who's primary is going to go up and conduct the majority of the spacewalk, and then someone who's going to back that person up. And so that woman goes out and does a spacewalk, she'll spend more time in the neutral buoyancy portion of the laboratory to kind of work exactly how to use and how to move with neutral within she's outside of the spacecraft. Similarly, if we're backing her up, we'll also have to learn how to use the tools, how to support, when to go on, how to help them put on their suits, how to help them get the suit. And so you go through all that special training until they think the mission is ready to fly. And then you're locked and loaded for the mission, and you're 3, 2, 1, you take off. Sound good?
Yes, thank you.
Now,
Thank you, Aaron.
so before I bring up the last two questions, I'm going to dovetail on what he was saying. You heard teamwork, you heard the preparation, you heard getting the tools. All the stuff that we do in the transportation technology and all of your students here, you have to prepare before the mission. So, next up, nice young lady at Cabrillo High School. What is your name?
I'm Sandy from the engineering program at Cabrillo, and I had a question. I'm curious about the suit, like how, yeah, the astronaut suit and the design behind it, and is it just like an oxygen to get you into space, like to keep you alive, or is there other forces that might damage your system?
Did you guys hear that question?
I think the question, I want to repeat it if it's okay. The question was about the suit, and you were wondering about the amount of oxygen that's in the suit, and then you also asked about some other specifics that I did not hear.
Does the suit do anything else, like in terms of pressure, that might damage an astronaut's body when they return back?
Okay, awesome. So the suit, thank you so much for your question. The suit is a highly technical piece of, it's like a spacecraft within a spacecraft. Because the suit actually is actually pressurized itself. The suit itself is modular, and in other words, it's made up of a bunch of pieces. And so you have a helmet that's going to be a specific size. Well, actually, let's strip it down. Imagine, if you will, you are an astronaut. You ready? Congratulations. You are an astronaut. So as an astronaut, you're going to start off with something that looks like the clothes that you're wearing, and then you're going to wear something that looks like an undergarment, is what they call it. And the undergarment actually has tubing all the way through the undergarment that actually will help control your temperature, your body temperature, and they're going to, you'll actually have very micro tubing throughout that undergarment. Then after you put on the micro tubing undergarment, then you're going to slip on the suit itself. So all of this is going to have actually some kind of some metal layers. The suit itself is between it's 17 layers of material. Some of that material is going to be stuff that's like Teflon, so it can't get sticky. Some of it's going to be Kevlar. Some of it's going to be electrical, so you're able to monitor and have sensory stuff inside of the suit. Some of it's going to be a water element. And then there's also going to be other layers in the suit as well. Now, that suit, if you're able to cut it up, it's just going to be layered. Imagine, if you will, kind of like a tire a little bit. Kind of like, you know, how whenever you look at a radio, I don't know, maybe you guys, I don't know, in technology classes, sometimes they allow you to look at a cross-section or something. And so if you look at it, it's really kind of a very layered approach. So you're going to have undergarment on the body, and then you have this layered suit on the outside. But between the person's body and the undergarment, there will be, that's going to be what they wear, their underclothes, they put on the undergarment, then they put on the suit. So in the suit, there's actually going to be a bit of space between your person and the suit. And this will allow the suit allow you to have free movement within the suit. The hips are going to be small, medium, large, so on and so forth. The suit, same way. On the front of the suit, there's a box. It's actually a computer that's actually going to help you to monitor all of your biological stuff that's going on, as far as the amount of oxygen you have, the temperature inside the suit. It's going to help to keep the amount of condensation inside the suit. I don't know if you've ever put your glasses in a cold place you walk outside, you know how it gets fuzzy? Well, they're going to be controlling the amount of humidity inside the suit, so you don't have that issue that's happening. So you have all things that are controlled in your suit on the computer. There typically is a mirror, so that you're able to see, control whatever knobs that are on your front. In the small computer that's there on the suit. On the back, going to be enough oxygen for your mission for how long you're supposed to be out there. It's not just that amount. So let's say, for example, you're going to go out for an 8-hour walk. You actually want to break up your external walk onto the ISS. We're going to do 5 for 4 hours, and then you'll attach, and you'll take then do new. We're going to do a walk with a new suit. Basically, I'm going to be able to kind of refill the oxygen, refill the water, make sure that the suit is not taking any damage, so on and so forth. Ask about the suit. I don't like that one. There's the suit, undergarments, underwear suit. It's going to have oxygen, it's going to have water, it's going to have a mirror on the floor, that has lights and cameras, and the helmet. So as you turn around, people on the ground can actually see what you see in case you run into challenges. You also have under the helmet, there's something called a cap. The Snoopy cap actually has a microphone in it, and also other electronics that are necessary so you're able to run the sensors that are going to connect it to that computer on the front of your suit. But that's basically the spacesuit in a nutshell. It's really awesome technology, and it will help to protect the astronauts, protect you as the astronaut as you're outside of the spacecraft. Again, if you're going to think of what would happen if you have some things that are flying at you, they're not let you do a spacewalk if they know that there's stuff that's going to be flying at you. But the suit can withstand some debris that's flying around, and if it would hit you, you would ask you to move out of the way, and if you can't move out of the way, then the suit can learn to withstand some of those things because of its multi-layered construction and the ribs and the metal ribs inside of the suit that are gone, but to retain its shape. Question?
Good question. I heard a couple people, plus I'm interested. How much are those suits?
No.
How much do the suits run?
How much are they?
Yes.
I don't know. How much do they weigh, is what you asked.
No, how much
I don't know.
money? How much
The
dollars?
suit is very heavy. And
Gotcha.
so, you cannot, if you're a movie watcher, sometimes you'll see people in suits and they're walking around in music videos and things like that, or on television shows. They're too heavy to wear in our gravity. They're too heavy, and that's why when astronauts are training, they're actually training in something called the Neutral Buoyancy Laboratory, which is really a super large swimming pool. And they actually put the suit on, and it's kind of in a rack, and then they dip them into the water. And then in the water, the buoyancy of the water helps them to be able to move, most similar to what it looks like out in space. But as far as how much it costs to make a suit, I don't know. I would imagine quite a bit, but I don't have a specific number. I'm sorry.
I'll get that number from the doctor and I'll share with you guys. But anyways, I think we have one more question. A bright young man from Cabrillo High School. How you doing, sir? What's your name? What's your name? Arnold. Arnold's got the last question. Arnold?
My question is, how many times do you guys have to run tests on the rocket launches where the person can ensure that they're safe?
How many times? So one more time, Arnold.
How many times do you guys have to test the launches to make sure that the person is safe?
Oh, excellent. How many times do we have to launches to make sure a person is safe? Was that your question, sir?
Yes.
Awesome. It varies. So for each one of the launches, we actually go through several steps. I know you guys probably use technology protocols to measure and experiment where you're going to go through a series of steps. And then when you accomplish those steps, you move on to the next step. So it's going to be kind of a looping process. We do a similar process with launching a rocket. So when you're launching a rocket, if it is a brand new rocket, you're actually going to go and work on each one of the sections, or each one of the subsections to make sure each one of those things work. Those are going to go through the looping protocol to make sure those are approved. And then after each one of those are to do its function, then pull it together. And then we test largely as approved. So we actually have one such test that's coming up called the EMF launch, and it's going to be a unmanned launch of the new rocket that's going to be used for commercial crew. So it'll be in spring of 2019 that they're actually going to launch that rocket. But it's going to be actually hundreds and hundreds of tests of each section, and then the collection of all of the pieces to make sure that you can keep the astronaut safe. And then, after they assemble it all, and they put it on the gantry, or there's a mechanism that's actually going to hold the rocket up before it launches, they go through yet even more tests to make sure that all of the computer systems are working together, all of the electronics are working together. If there's no problem with the seals, there's been problems, we've been fortunate that we've not lost any astronauts in space. And do that because we run through those protocols, to your point, sir, of checking, to make sure that they're able to be here on Earth or as safe as we can have to be. Did that answer your question, Arnold?
Yes, thank you for taking my question.
Thank you, sir.
And we're going to actually have one final question, if you don't mind. We only have a few minutes left. We're going to have one more question. This is Pedro Luna.
Okay.
Hello, I wanted to ask about how you approach cross-agency experiments and research between, let's say, NASA and Russia applied agencies, as to how you cross language barriers, funding, and even like who gets the credit for the findings.
Well, awesome. So, whenever you think of language barriers, how do we use language barriers if you have a similar assignment? There's a couple of different things that we do. First off, for the astronauts, are any of you all bilingual? If you're bilingual, will you raise your hand? Or trilingual? Awesome, great, fantastic. That's what we're looking for at NASA. We're looking for people that learn multiple languages or speak multiple languages. All of the American astronauts, remember right now, America does not have a vehicle to launch astronauts into space. So the American astronauts speak Russian. They speak Russian so that they're able to actually be of service when they're actually launching in a Russian craft, because all of the directions are in Russian. And so they need to know exactly what's happening. In addition, we have, when you're looking at the food items that are up in the International Space Station, they're written in multiple languages. The two languages that dominate, English and also the language for Russian. So there's several protocols that are in place there to make sure that we're able to work together. Additionally, whenever you're looking at the work might be assigned either to a Russian crew members or U.S. crew members. Hey, I thought there were other folks other than just Russian and U.S. You're right. So either Russian or U.S. and U.S. partners. So it could be the U.S. partners could be Canadian, it could be German, it could be Brazilian, it could be Japanese, or Russian. And so we will just divide the work. Sometimes they're working on projects in Russia that are different than the projects we work on in the U.S. Sometimes, interestingly enough, we're both working on similar projects, but we have different approaches. So the whole idea of one problem, and maybe we have a couple of different folks that are taking different ways to get to that answer. So, yeah, sometimes we will actually work on the same, because it's the same laboratory. And it's not as if that Russia can only stay in its section and everyone else stays in its section. Instead, everyone kind of mixes together, and they work together, and they eat together, they sleep near each other. And largely, the work is just whatever their work is assigned. The two different agencies will decide, okay, who's going to do this work, whether it's going to be 10 cosmonauts or it's going to be U.S. astronaut or partners, and the work divvied out like that. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, it did. Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and give Valerie and Dr. Frank Bostic a big round of applause for taking time for us today. Guys, we greatly appreciate this honor, and hopefully we can do this again. This was a great conversation. We truly greatly appreciate it. And Mr. Montgomery, any final words?
We'll see you guys in space. I'm going to go to Mars. I want to go with you guys. So. Anybody want to go to Mars? That's where we're going. All right, come to the Transportation Technology Shop. I'll see you guys back in the shop. Have a great day. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys again, Doctor and Valerie. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. See you guys later.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on 1 second, please. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Now, first of all, I want you guys to understand what just occurred. 3,000 high schools in the state of California. NASA chose to talk to you. All the skills that they're talking about, you can find within our Cabrillo Engineering and Design, from our AP Computer Science classes, to our robotics, FIRST and VEX robotics, to building a solar boat, to running electric cars, everything from cyber patriot internet security to manufacturing with our 3D printers. You have the full capability of developing the skills of what NASA's looking for. It takes you to put that first step forward and to join one of our competition teams. We hope you enjoyed this. I greatly appreciate the respect that you shown, and you guys have a very wonderful afternoon, guys. Thank you so much.